This article is about the French explorer, the French priest of that era with the same surname for whom Lasalle University is named. See Jean-Baptiste de La Salle, René-Robert Cavelier, Sieur de La Salle, or Robert de La Salle was a French explorer. He explored the Great Lakes region of the United States and Canada, the Mississippi River, and the Gulf of Mexico. La Salle claimed the entire Mississippi River basin for France. Early life. Robert de La Salle was born on November 22, 1643, into a comfortably well-off family in Rouen, France, in the parish Saint-Herbland. When La Salle was younger he enjoyed science and nature. As a man, he studied with the Jesuit religious order and became a member after taking initial vows in 1660. At his request on March 27, 1667, after he was in Canada, he was released from the Society of Jesus after citing moral weaknesses. Quote, although he left the order, never took final vows in it, and later became hostile to it. Historians sometimes described him incorrectly as a priest or a leader. Family. La Salle never married, but has been linked to Madeleine de Roy-Bondelon, an early settler of New France. His older brother, Jean Cavelier, was a Sulpician priest. His parents were Jean Cavelier and Catherine Geist. Explorations. Required to reject his father's legacy when he joined the Jesuits. La Salle was nearly destitute when he traveled as a prospective colonist to North America. He sailed for New France in the spring of 1666. His brother Jean, of Sulpician priests, had moved there the year before. La Salle was granted a seigneury on land at the western end of the island of Montreal, which became known as La Chine. La Salle immediately began to issue land grants, set up a village and learn the languages of the native people, mostly Mohawk in this area. The Mohawk told him of a great river, called the Ohio, which flowed into the Mississippi River. Thinking the river flowed into the Gulf of Mexico, La Salle began to plan for expeditions to find a western passage to China. He sought and received permission from Governor Daniel Courchelle and Intendant Jean Talon to embark on the enterprise. He sold his interests in La Chine to finance the venture. In 1682, he named the area Louisiana after King Louis XIV of France. Fort Frontenac. On July 12, 1673, the governor of New France, Louis de Bois de Frontenac, arrived at the mouth of the Cataraqui River to meet with leaders of the Five Nations of the Iroquois to encourage them to trade with the French. While the groups met and exchanged gifts, Frontenac's men, led by René-Robert Cavelier de La Salle, hastily constructed a rough wooden palisade on a point of land by a shallow, sheltered bay. Originally the fort was named Fort Cataraqui but was later renamed Fort Frontenac by de La Salle in honor of La Salle's patron. The purpose of Fort Frontenac was to control the lucrative fur trade in the Great Lakes basin to the west. The fort was also meant to be a bulwark against the English and Dutch, who were competing with the French for control of the fur trade. La Salle was left in command of the fort in 1673. Thanks to his powerful protector, the discoverer managed, during a voyage to France in 1674–75, to secure for himself the grant of Fort Cataraqui and acquired letters of nobility for himself and his descendants. With Frontenac's support, he received not only a fur trade concession, with permission to establish frontier forts, but also a title of nobility. He returned and rebuilt Frontenac in stone. An Ontario Heritage Trust plaque describes René-Robert Cavelier de La Salle at Cataraqui as major figure in the expansion of the French fur trade into the Lake Ontario region. Using the fort as a base, he undertook expeditions to the west and southwest in the interest of developing a vast fur trading empire. Henry de Tonty joined his explorations as his lieutenant. Le Griffin and Fort Miami in early early 1679, La Salle's expedition built Fort Conty at the mouth of the Niagara River on Lake Ontario. They loaded supplies from Fort Frontenac into smaller boats, so they could continue up the shallow and swiftly flowing lower Niagara River to what is now the location of Lewiston, New York. The Iroquois had a well-established portage route which bypassed the rapids and the cataract later known as Niagara Falls. La Salle built a griffon of 7-cannon, 45-ton bark on the upper Niagara River at or near Cayuga Creek. She was launched on August 7, 1679. La Salle sailed in Le Griffon up Lake Erie to Lake Huron, then up Huron to Michilimackinac and on to present-day Green Bay, Wisconsin. Le Griffon left for Niagara with a load of furs, but was never seen again. La Salle continued with his men in canoes down the western shore of Lake Michigan, rounding the southern end to the mouth of the Miami River, where they built a stockade in January 1680. They called it Fort Miami. They waited for Tonty and his party, who had crossed the lower Michigan Peninsula on foot. Tonty arrived on November 20. On December 3, the entire party set off up the St. Joseph, which they followed until they had to take a portage at present-day South Bend, Indiana. They crossed to the Kankakee River and followed it to the Illinois River. They built Fort Crevecoeur, which later led to the development of present-day Peoria, Illinois. La Salle set off on foot for Fort Frontenac for supplies. While he was gone, the soldiers at Fort Crevecoeur mutinied, destroyed the fort, and exiled Tonty, whom La Salle had left in charge. Later La Salle captured the mutineers on Lake Ontario. He eventually rendezvoused with Tonty at St. Ignace, Michigan. Final expeditions. La Salle reassembled a party for another major expedition. In 1682, he departed Fort Crevecoeur with a group of Frenchmen and Indians and canoed down the Mississippi River. He named the Mississippi Basin La Louisiane in honor of Louis XIV and claimed it for France. At what later became the site of Memphis, Tennessee, La Salle built the small Fort Prudhomme. On April 9, 1682, at the mouth of the Mississippi River near modern Venice, Louisiana, La Salle buried an engraved plate and a cross, claiming the territory for France. In 1683, on his return voyage, La Salle established Fort St. Louis of Illinois at Starved Rock on the Illinois River, to replace Fort Crevecoeur. He appointed Tonty to command the fort while La Salle traveled to France for supplies. On July 24, 1684, La Salle departed France and returned to America with a large expedition designed to establish a French colony on the Gulf of Mexico, at the mouth of the Mississippi River. They had 4 ships and 300 colonists. The expedition was plagued by pirates, hostile Indians, and poor navigation. 1 ship was lost to pirates in the West Indies, a 2nd sank in the inlets of Matagorda Bay, and a 3rd ran aground there. They founded Fort St. Louis on Garcetas Creek in present-day Victoria, Texas vicinity. La Salle led a group eastward on foot on 3 occasions to try to locate the mouth of the Mississippi. During a final search from the Mississippi River, some of La Salle's remaining 36 men mutinied near the site of present Navasota, Texas. On March 19, 1687, La Salle was slain by Pierre Duhaut during an ambush while talking to Duhaut's decoy, Jean Lachevêque. They were 6 leagues from the westernmost village of the Haishnai Indians. Duhaut was killed to avenge La Salle, while Jean Lachevêque was killed in 1720 by Indians during the Villiers expedition, coincidentally in an ambush beside a river. The Fort St. Louis colony lasted only until 1688, when Karankawa-speaking Native Americans killed the 20 remaining adults and took 5 children. children as captives. Tonti sent out search missions in 1689 when he learned of the settlers' fate, but failed to find survivors. There is some disagreement about accepting Navasota as the site of La Salle's death. The historian Robert Weddell, for example, believes that La Salle's travel distances have been miscalculated. Weddell thinks that La Salle was murdered just east of the Trinity River, which would put the site somewhere about 20 miles east to northeast of today's Huntsville, Texas. Legacy. La Salle's major legacy was establishing the network of forts from Fort Frontenac to outposts along the Great Lakes, Ohio, Illinois and Mississippi rivers that came to define French territorial, diplomatic and commercial policy for almost a century between his first expedition and the 1763 cession of New France to Great Britain. In addition to the forts, which also served as authorized agencies for the extensive fur trade, La Salle's visits to Illinois and other Indians cemented the French policy of alliance with Indians in the common causes of containing both Iroquois influence and Anglo-American settlement. He also gave the name Louisiana to the interior North American territory he claimed for France, which lives on in the name of a U.S. state. His efforts to encompass modern-day Ontario and the 8 American states that border the Great Lakes became a foundational effort in defining the Great Lakes region. In 1995, La Salle's primary ship La Belle was discovered in the muck of Matagorda Bay. It has been the subject of archaeological research. Through an international treaty, the artifacts excavated from La Belle are owned by France and held in trust by the Texas Historical Commission. The collection is held by the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History. Artifacts from La Belle are shown at 9 museums across Texas. The wreckage of La Salle's ship El Aimable has yet to be located. A possible shipwreck of Le Griffin in Lake Michigan is the subject of a lawsuit concerning ownership of artifacts. A more promising wreck has now been identified in the depths of northern Lake Michigan. Divers Monroe and Dykstra happened upon an ancient wreckage in 2011 while looking for Confederate gold. The bowsprit of the find includes what appears to be a carved wooden griffin, similar to other examples of the French 17th century. News of the find was not released to the public until December 2014, when it was published in the editor's note of issue number 34 of Wreck Diver magazine. Authentication of the find is expected to be painstaking, but forthcoming. The ghost town of Indianola, Texas near Matagorda Bay has a statue of La Salle. Many places were named in La Salle's honor, as was the La Salle automobile brand. Fort La Salle at the Royal Military College of Canada in Kingston, Ontario. La Salle, in Essex County, Ontario, south of Windsor on the Detroit River. La Salle, Quebec is a borough of the city of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Avenue La Salle, located in Shawinigan, Quebec, Canada. La Salle Road, a prominent east-west road to the south of Sarnia, Ontario, Canada. La Salle County, Illinois, the city of La Salle and the La Salle Speedway within it. La Salle Parish, Louisiana. La Salle Peru Township High School in La Salle, Illinois has the mascot of the Cavaliers and Lady Cavaliers. Lasalle Avenue in Waco, Texas. Lasalle Elementary School in Crèvecoeur, Illinois, located near the site of Fort Crèvecoeur. Lasalle Street in Navasota, Texas. It also contains a statue given by the French government in honor of the explorer. Lasalle Avenue, a prominent downtown street in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The LaSalle neighborhood in Niagara Falls, New York, the place where LaSalle's ship Le Griffin was built in 1679. The Lasalle Expressway, a prominent roadway through Niagara Falls, New York and its outer suburbs. LaSalle Street, a major north-south thoroughfare in Chicago, leads directly to the Board of Trade, and is the center of Chicago's financial district. LaSalle Avenue, a thoroughfare thoroughfare in South Bend, Indiana, which traverses the downtown area and carries a portion of U.S. Route 20 business. LaSalle Park, Burlington, Ontario. Robert de La Salle County Park, Door County, Wisconsin. The Door County Historical Society commemorates the site as a Robert de La Salle landing place in 1679. Jardin Cavelier de La Salle in the 6e arrondissement in Paris. LaSalle Hotel in downtown Bryan, Texas. The LaSalle Causeway, connecting Kingston, Ontario to neighboring Barryfield, Ontario. LaSalle Hotel, Chicago. École Secondaire Publique de La Salle in Ottawa, Ontario. Six Flags Over Texas opened with an animatronic attraction named LaSalle's River Adventure Ride. It closed in 1982, but a recreation of F.D. St. Louis remains. LaSalle Secondary School in Kingston, Ontario. LaSalle Boulevard and Cavelier Road in Marquette Heights, Illinois, near Fort Crevecoeur. LaSalle Park in Burlington, Ontario.